So, very good evening, good morning, good evening to everyone connecting from different parts of this world. It's nice to see known faces and new faces today. Every story swap is very, very special to us. There have been many, many story swaps in the past years, and today we have all the tellers from Indian origin, not exactly from India, not people from around the world, but of Indian origin. That is the speciality about today. And before we begin, I would like to thank our story swap liaisons, Shamata and Banu, for doing all the background work with each and every story swap throughout all these years. So today, we have 6 different stories from different genres. So let's jump right away to the first story. To tell the first story, we have Ramendra with us today. And today, something he shared a special information today. He had sold his books, 1 million copies of his books have been sold, which is such a great
Wow.
event. And as I was telling before, and these books are translated into languages that we have not heard of, and that's very, 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 very special about it. And I had the chance to translate one of his stories on the spot during our Chennai Children's Storytelling Festival. And what story he's going to share, it's something very interesting. I'm looking forward to listen to it because I got a glimpse of the story when he was here in Chennai. Over to you, Ramendra. Please tell us that interesting story.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, I'm a writer by passion, a storyteller by obsession, a dancer by inspiration, a perfect husband by aspiration, and a cancer survivor by determination. I reside in Bangalore, India, and the stories I tell, because I am a writer as well as a storyteller, all the stories I share are the stories I have written. My audience is eclectic, and the age range is 4 to 80. The title of my story, which I'm going to narrate today, is Love, Laughter, and Lunacy. I always believed that instant love, like instant nirvana, is impossible. This notion was shattered when I joined Rourkela Steel Plant as a management trainee. I was asked to report to the room of the training chief. When I entered, I saw a young lady sitting there who looked at me, smiled, and asked, "Are you a management trainee?" I nodded. She said, "I'm Madhvi." At that instant, on 23rd October 1105, 1986, I felt completely, absolutely, totally in love. And I thought that if this angel would agree to marry me, I would be the happiest man in the world. It took me 7 seconds to fall in love. It took her 7 months. She has always been rather slow. But after she made her confession, she went to Bhubaneswar, an overnight journey, to break the news and seek the permission of her parents. I wrote to my father, who informing him, and he sent a telegram which read, "Congratulations to you and Madhavi." Madhvi returned from Bhubaneswar after meeting her parents, and she was completely devastated. She was in shambles. I asked her the reason. She said, "My father has completely gone berserk. He's absolutely against our marriage." I said, "What is the reason?" He said, "We are Telugu Vaishnavite Brahmins, the top rung in the caste hierarchy." And I said, "Yeah, and I know that I am a Vaishya, number 3 in the caste echelons." Madhvi said, "My father is, agreeable to me marrying any Telugu Vaishnavite Brahmin, even if he has a tail coming out of his backside, but a North Indian Vaishya, absolutely impossible." So I told her, "Why didn't you try to reason?" So she said, "Do you think I didn't try? I begged, I besieged, I implored, but the entire family gathered around him, and I had absolutely no choice." But then, for a few months, she would go every weekend and try to convince her father and her family. Then one day, she dropped the bombshell. She said, Ramin, I don't think I can get married to you. My dad has said that he would go on a fast unto death. And you know, if we get married, he is not going to survive. And we cannot build the mansion, the palace of our dreams on his funeral pyre. I was completely gobsmacked. My angel, who always believed, whose very purpose in life was to spread sweetness and sunshine, was talking like a modern day Mary Magdalene. I knew this union was an impossibility. So I resigned from my job in Rourkela steel plant and came back to my native place, Hyderabad. After 6 months, I got a letter from Madhvi. Ramin, can you come and meet me for a day? I immediately boarded the train and I was in Rourkela. And she opened the door, she rushed into my arms and she said, Ramin, I can't stay without you. I've tried. God knows how much I have tried, but I just can't imagine a life without you. I said, what about, let's get married. I said, what about your father? And all that, suicide and everything else. She said it was all a drama. I know he would be extremely upset, but eventually he would come along. I said, what about our jobs? Because I'm working in Hyderabad, you're working here. She said, I'll resign and look for a job in Hyderabad. Then I replied that, Madhvi, if you do that, it'll be too rocky a start because you'll be estranged from your parents and also you'll be losing your job. So let me try to get back my job in Rourkela Steel Plant. I requested the management and they said you can join back, but you'll be 2 years junior to your batchmates and your wife. I agreed. After all, it was a very small price to pay to get together with my life, my love, my obsession. Madhvi and I got married with the help of my father on 26th March 1988. Our family was informed a day later, and hell broke loose. For 3 years, there was, I mean, they practically disowned Madhvi, and of course, they had never owned me. So, how did the impasse end? When it, it took a 3 kg wonder and a pristine smile. When I placed our daughter Ankita in my father in law's lap, and she smiled at him. My father-in-law must have thought anybody responsible for the production of this angel to an extent of 50% cannot be a devil. So he embraced me. So the outlaw in me became, once again, kind of got together with my in-law. And on the family front, it was a happy ending. But on the job, it was terrible because in 1988, when the women's emancipation had really not taken off, if a young man was junior to his beautiful, gorgeous wife, it meant that he was the biggest idiot on planet Earth. I had to face a lot of ridicule and shame. In a particular meeting, I still remember a general manager said, Ramin, congratulations and condolences. Somebody asked why. So he replied, congratulations to him because his wife Madhvi got promoted, and condolences because he did not. And everybody naturally sniggered. Then there was a smart aleck guy from my own department who said, Sir, at this rate, one day you will be reporting to your wife. So I said, what's the big deal, man? I still report to her at home. I'll report to her in the office. And don't forget, her office is on the fourth floor and mine is on the ground floor. I look up to her and she looks down on me. But jokes apart, after 12 years of toil and sweat and luck and pluck, I finally made up with her. And today we are equal in every sense of the term. Some years earlier, one day, I was in a very lovey dovey mood. I looked at her and asked, Madhvi, can you tell me what made you agree to marry me? She looked deep into my eyes and said, I saw a lot of scope for improvement. After that, I never ever posed this question to her. But I would like to tell you, Madhvi, because I'm sure you're watching the program, that you have a higher IQ. You have a higher EQ. You are far more charismatic than I am. But there is one aspect in which I'm far, far superior to you. My taste is better than yours. Thank you.
Fantastic. I like the my taste is better than yours. And yes, the 3 kg wonder and pristine smile can create miracles. It was lovely listening to your, yeah, I watched the romance between both of you, but now listening to the story, it's very nice. Ramendra, I have just one question for you. Like, what made you choose this story for today?
Because 2 days back we celebrated our our 38th year, month, and day when we first sighted each other. So I thought this would be the ideal story, and it is very very close to my heart, like my wife is. So why not?
Wonderful. I'm sure Madhavi should be listening to the story. Hats off to you both and wish you all the very best for a very lovely, long life. Thank you
Thank you
for
so
sharing
much.
that lovely part of your life with all of us.
Thank
So
you.
we have next, we move on to Shilpa. Yeah, hi Shilpa. Nice to have you here, and it feels good to see someone again and again in our feast events. No, we feel like a family. So Shilpa, tell us something about yourself. What is the genre of stories that you like to tell?
Yeah, hello everyone. I am Shilpa Mehta, known as Shilpa Story Rack in the storytelling fraternity, and I am based in Jaipur. I am an educator, an author. I write short fiction stories which are published in various anthologies, and a storyteller. And like Ramendra sir, my audience ranges from children to adults, and I enjoy telling mythological stories, folk tales, and at times personal stories as well. So today I am going to tell you a folk tale. The name of the story is The Man Who Had No Luck. Well, Jamie was someone who always felt that he had no luck because people around him were more happier than him. People around him lived in big houses, or rather, bigger houses. People around him had more money. Oh, and he lived always in despair. And one day, when he was sitting there all alone in the park, someone suggested him, why not to go and see the wise woman of Nachamine to know the reason of his being unlucky? Hmm, I'll go tomorrow and ask her. Fine. So the next day, he sets off his journey to meet the old wise woman of Nachmine. And when he was going at the fag end of the village, he met his friend Thomas, who just requested him to ask one question from his side. So, well, Jimmy, can you do me a favor? Can you just ask her when, like, I know I'm lucky, but how can I be the luckiest man on the earth? Yeah, okay, I'll do that. So Jamie, he starts his journey and he travels for weeks and weeks. And then one day, he just wanted to rest. He just wanted to have some water. So he just puts his jug there in the blue stream and he hears some rustle. Oh, someone was approaching. And he saw that a huge dog. No, no, no. It must have been a huge dog, but now he was so emancipated. His ribs were almost like a washboard. Somehow it came to Jamie. Hey, would you like to have some water or would you like something to eat? You can share my lunch. Well, well, you see, I was not like this the way I am. I was a beautiful dog, but I don't know what happened. Something in my throat that I'm not able to swallow anything. And if this continues, I think I won't be able to live for long. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, but I can do something for you. I'm going to meet the wise old woman of the Nachmai. So I can ask the solution to your problem. Please, please do it. Fine. And Jamie starts his journey. And he was walking, and he travels for weeks and weeks and weeks, and he comes to a forest, and there was like huge, lush green trees. And all of a sudden, he sees a tree which was almost withered, with no leaf, no, and his branches were also dried up. And when he was looking at the tree suddenly says, "What are you looking at? I know you are looking at my condition. Well, I was not like this. I was not withered, and you see how I am. I was also like my brothers and sisters, all green, leafy. But I don't know what happened some time back. I, I'm not able to get anything from my roots. I just don't know. And if this continues, I think I'll die soon." "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, you see, I'm going to meet the old wise woman of Nachmine. If you want, I can ask the solution for your problem." "Yeah, please do, please do." "Fine, I'll do that." And after taking some rest, Jamie starts his journey again. And he walks and he walks and he walks for weeks and weeks and weeks. And he comes across a beautiful valley. And there he sees a beautiful house with beautiful garden. And there was a beautiful girl tending the flowers. But, oh, but she was crying. Why is she crying? He goes there, and the beautiful girl says, "Oh, hello. It's good to see someone. Well, you see, I live in such a beautiful place, but I don't see many people. Why don't you come inside?" Well, Jimmy, he goes inside, and this beautiful girl, she offers him some food, and as it was getting dark, she even offers him to stay at night. The next day, when Jamie was about to leave, he asks her the reason for her sadness. "Oh, well, you see, I've got such a beautiful house, such beautiful garden, but I'm very lonely. I feel so sad. There's no one with whom I can share my thoughts, my feelings. I think if I won't find anyone, I'm going to die like this, all alone, very sad." "Oh, no, no, no. Well, you see, I'm going to meet the old wise woman of Natchmine. If you want, I can find a solution. I can ask her for a solution to your problem." "Oh, yes, please do, please do." And Jamie sets his journey, and he walks and he walks and he walks for weeks and weeks and weeks, and he finally reaches the top of the mountain where the old wise woman of Nachmine was sitting there with a big cauldron in front of her. Her hair was white as silver, and her eyes were deep blue, piercing right into the soul of the person. Jamie goes there and greets her. And he asks her about the problem of the beautiful lady, the withered tree, the dog, and his friend. And the old woman, she tells him the solution of all the problems. And he was about to go, and then he suddenly remembered, "Oh, but I forgot to ask you something very important. You see, I have no luck. How can I be lucky? I think I am the unluckiest man on this earth." "Oh, well, Jamie, you see, you have got luck all around you. All you have to keep your eyes open, and whenever you see, you just grab it with both your hands." "Okay, so you mean to say that I have to keep my eyes wide open to keep looking for my luck, and the moment I see it, I have to grab it with both my hands. Fine, thank you." And Jamie starts his journey back. He reaches that beautiful valley and meets the beautiful woman. "Well, did you find the solution to my problem?" "Oh, yes, yes. The old woman said that you are sad because you don't have anyone to share your feelings, your thoughts. So if you can find someone who can be your soulmate, you can be very happy. Oh, well, the other day you spent the night here and I really liked you. Can you be that someone for me? Oh, well, I could have been, but I'm so sorry. You see, I have to go and look out for my luck. And it's right there. All I have to do is to see and grab it with both my hands. Sorry, I won't be of much help. And he starts his journey back and he walks and he walks and he walks and he walks and he reaches that tree. Oh, hello, tree. Ah, you're back. Yes, yes, and I have found the solution to your problem. You see, some time back, a group of robbers, they came here and they dug a chest of gold, a chest of treasure there underground, and it got entangled in your roots, and that's why you're not getting enough water for your survival. So, and now you see those thieves, those robbers, they got caught. So now nobody is going to come back. So if someone can dig you and take out the chest from that entangled roots, you will be fine and you will be lush, as green as your brothers and sisters around you. Oh, can you see that shovel there? Can you please dig that treasure and help me? Oh, well, I would have loved to do it, but you see, I don't have time because I have to go and look out for my luck. So I'm sorry, I won't be able to help you. Okay. And Jamie starts walking and he walks and he walks and he walks and he walks and he reaches the blue stream where he finds the dog who was still waiting for Jamie. Oh, hello. Hello. Did you find a solution to my problem? Oh, yes, yes. You see, quite some time back, you ate something. I think you ate an apple, and the core of that apple, it got stuck here in your throat. And if someone takes out that core from your throat and plant the seeds of that apple, those apple seeds, and that apples that would grow, those golden apples that would grow from that tree would be the golden apple of perfect health. And whoever eats them every day will never fall sick throughout their life. Oh, so can you be that someone to help me? Oh, well, I would have loved to do it, but you see, I have no time. I have to go and look out for my luck. It's there. All I have to do is look around so that I can grab it with both my hands. I'm so sorry. And Jimmy walks away, and he walks and he walks and he walks, and he reaches his village, and he meets his friend Thomas. Oh, hi, Jamie, you're back. How was your journey? Oh, well, it was good. And Jamie tells him about the dog, about the tree, about the beautiful woman. And Thomas, when he listened to all this, he stood there transfixed with his mouth wide open. Why didn't you help the dog? Why didn't you dig that tree? And why didn't you marry that girl? Oh, I don't have time for all that. You see, I have to go and look out for my luck. So I am heading to look out for my luck. And the moment Jimmy turned, he remembered something. Oh, well, I forgot to tell you something that you are luckiest because you have a friend like me. Bye. And Jamie walks ahead. And the moment Jamie walks ahead, his friend Thomas, he starts moving to the way to find something. Yes, he goes there, he rescues the dog, takes out the core of the apple, and takes the seed of the apple, digs a tree, takes the treasure chest, goes down to that beautiful valley, marries that girl, plant that seed there, and Thomas and that beautiful girl, they lived happily ever after. Now, wondering about Jamie? Well, he's looking for his luck. And in case you are wandering and you find someone wandering there, well, He might be Jamie, still looking for his luck. Thank you.
Nice one, Shilpa. Enjoyed listening to that. So basically, okay, the moral of the stories listening to Ramin and yours is, if you want luck, go find a woman. You find a woman, luck lies with women always, right? So thanks for that beautiful story, well animated, and I love listening to that story. Thank you so much. And we move to the next teller, and we have Ramya Srinidhi with us. We have Ramya here, and Ramya is the founder of Indian Kamshi Eye Association. And I have to tell you, we had a wonderful presentation by her in our previous crop swap. If you have not watched it, please go ahead and try to watch that. So we learned lots about Kamshi Eye in that. Yes, Ramya, today, what story are you going to share?
Hi, Ambu. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everybody. Am I audible? Is my audio good? Okay, I am I'm very nervous because the first story was all about love, and the second story you concluded with the moral that it's all about women and finding. So I'm excited to share my story, and after the wonderful story that Ramin shared and the lovely story that just unfolded just now, let's see what the audience have to say after I share my beautiful story. So are you all ready? Great. So I am Ramya Srinidhi and I live in Bangalore, India. And I'm just a passionate storyteller. And of course, I'd love to tell to children, to adults, to grown-ups, to trees, to stones, to flowers, anything and everything. So I just love stories and I love to tell. So with that note, I would like to tell you what drives us to do most of what we do is our emotions. And two of the most powerful emotions are love and hatred. And both of them often occupy same spaces in our lives. And when taken to extremes, they can lead us towards shocking behavior. So today's short story is an example of young people, two a young couple's love, basically, that young couple's emotions that propel them towards shocking behavior. The name of the short story I will disclose at the end of this. In some natures, there is no half tones, just raw primary colors. So no shades of gray, maybe. The nature of John Bodman was something like that. He was always found in the extremes. That was how John Bodman was. Well, it would have mattered very little if he had not married a beautiful young woman who was the exact duplicate of his own. Well, marriage at best, I think, is a compromise. I see a lot of married people in the audience nodding their head. All you singles, you can choose to leave the meeting room now. So, with that note, it is perfectly fine unless you're married or unless two people are tied together who are of uncompromising nature. In the case of Mr. and Mrs. Bodman, there was no half distance. It was hatred and hatred of the most arrogant kind. Well, in some cultures, incompatibility of temper is often considered as a valid reason for obtaining a divorce. But back in 19th century England, there was no such provisions made. So, until a wife became a criminal or the husband became a criminal and cruel, the two were linked. The two who were married were bound by something that only can be severed by death. John Bodman was a very happy, simple stock exchange dealer. But over time, he was done. He was fed up with his wife and he wanted to get rid of his wife at any cost. Was he in a sane or insane mind when he decided to murder his wife is never to be known. But there was a kind of craftiness that he had planned to make this entire crime look like an accident. Well, Mrs. Bodman, as lovely, educated, and beautiful that she was no less. Her hatred towards her husband was probably a little more than his own. She knew how much her husband hated her presence, and relentless as she was, she made sure she would accompany him at all events and all occasions and wherever he went. So, this time when John Bodman announced that he would like to spend the month of July in Switzerland, she said nothing. She quietly made her own plans for the journey. And in this case, he did also not resist, as he would have done probably in the past. So to Switzerland, the silent couple departed. It was a beautiful place on top of the mountains, which was about 1.5 miles above sea level, only to be reached through a zigzag road all the way to the top for 6 miles. And when you got there, from the veranda of this hotel, you could see beautiful snow-capped mountains, glaciers, and the lovely view of Switzerland. And in the neighborhood, there were, of course, many picturesque spots, which was rather dangerous. John Bodman was not new to this place. He had well acquainted with it in his happier times. He had visited this place many times. But now, with the thought of murder, a certain place 2 miles away from the inn haunted him. It was called as the Hanging Outlook. Well, this was a spot where there was nobody to inhabit, no people inhabited nearby. The closest hotel was covered by a shoulder of a rock, and the mountains and valleys at a distance was too far for anybody to notice what was going on here. And the village looked like a set of toy houses. This was the perfect spot, he thought. At that spot, there was a drop which was 1 mile straight down, and at the bottom, there was only jagged rocks, shrubs, and some trees. This was the perfect spot, and tomorrow is the time, he decided. So the next morning at breakfast, John Bodman announced to his wife, "I would like to take a walk to the mountains. Do you want to accompany?" "Yes," she replied. "All right then, I shall be ready at 9 o'clock." "I shall be ready at 9 o'clock," she replied. So that morning, at that hour, the two of them silently walked towards Hanging Outlook, only for Mr. Bodman had decided that he would be returning back to the hotel alone. He did not say anything on his way, and the only thought on his mind was the hope that his wife had no clue of what awaited her. He just wanted to make this whole act sharp and sudden, so she had no chance of saving herself or dragging him down into that. Well, as they were walking silently towards this Hanging Outlook, curiously enough, his wife stopped and shuddered. Mr. Bodman looked at her from the corner of his eye. He was worried if she was suspicious. "What's the matter? Are you tired?" he said gruffly. "John," she gasped. "John, if only you had been kinder to me in the beginning, do you think things would have been better between us?" she said. "Well, I think it's too late in the day for any such question. It's pointless," he said. "I have much to regret, John. Have you nothing?" she asked him. "No." "All right then," she said, with the same coldness back in her voice. "I was just giving you a chance. Remember that." "Giving me a chance? Giving me a chance? I don't want anything from you. A man accepts nothing from a person he hates, and my emotions towards you, I imagine, is no surprise to you. I just hate you, and we are just tied together. Yeah, We are tied together. We are tied together, she replied. She continued to utter these words quietly under her breath as they walked the last few steps towards the spot. As soon as she reached there, she dropped her cape on the stone and started walking back and forth, clasping and unclasping her hands. Stop it, he cried. Why do you walk like a wild animal? Stop it and come and sit next to me and be still, he said. With that, she gave him a look that he had never seen in her eyes ever before. The look of insanity and hatred. I walk like an animal because I am one. Few moments ago, you just mentioned about your hatred towards me, Mr. John Bodman. Let me tell you how much I hate you, she said. And let me tell you how much I can give in for revenge. Bad as you are, as much as you want to break the bond that ties us together, I know there are some things that you would never stoop to. I know there is never a thought of murder in your heart, but it is in mine, she said. The word murder suddenly alarmed him. Murder? What do you mean? She said. He was a little nervous at that word of murder. Yes, murder. Let me tell you, I have told all my friends back in England that you plan to kill me here in Switzerland. At that thought, he screamed out, Good God, why would you say such a thing? I say such a thing because I want you to know how much I hate you, how much I can give in for this revenge. I have informed at the hotel that you plan to kill me at this spot. The proprietor, of course, warned me not to go. He has sent 2 men to follow us as soon as we left. Very soon they will be reaching the spot. And try if you can explain to them that this entire thing was an accident. Before John could say anything, she quickly tore few laces from her dress, scattered on the floor, and quickly she jumped over the wall, shrieking and whirling down into the awful abyss. Few moments later, 2 men reached the spot, only to find John Bodman standing there alone. And this is a short story called The Alpine Divorce by Robert Barr.
I definitely didn't see that coming. I was expecting something else, and nice, very nice. I didn't see that coming. Very beautiful.
Thank you.
It looks like today is the day of stories, somewhere related to women, like the lucky women or smart women or pathetic women. Thanks for sharing that lovely.
Yes, thank you, Ambu. And like I said, we will leave the audience wondering on the different tones of love and hatred from all the stories that has opened so far. Thank you so much.
Exactly. We have such a good mix today. Thank you, Ramya. We move on to Niharika. From which part of the world are you connecting today?
I'm based in Hong Kong. I'm originally from Delhi, but I've been in Hong Kong for most of my life. So this is home for me.
Yeah, so can you tell us something about Hong Kong stories and then jump to your story?
Yeah, I'm part of Hong Kong Stories, and we're an organization, an NGO that does first-person storytelling in Hong Kong. So it's true personal stories that people get on the stage to share, and we help craft those stories. I've been into personal stories for a while, and before that, coming from India, into mythological tales as well. But actually today my story is very different. I'm experimenting with a historical tale. So I've read accounts from history and then come up with a short story. This is my very first time doing something like this and sharing the story. So I'm curious to see how people feel about it, and very happy to receive feedback one-on-one if you see ways in which this could be told better.
We are curious to listen to you.
Katharina Kepler was over 70 years old. You could tell her age from her loose skin, but not from her sharp tongue. When people of the town started accusing her of being a witch, she yelled back, "I will show you what a witch can do. I will make bad weather, thunderous clouds dance over your head." This is a true story from a time before our grandmothers, and from a time before their grandmothers, from a time when the earth was at the center of the universe and the sun revolved around it, or so men believed. From a time where the devil recruited witches to bring misery to God-fearing citizens, or so Christians believed. Witches must not roam free. Prison guards were sent to arrest Katharina at the crack of dawn. They found her in her daughter's house, hidden in a trunk, fully naked. No less than 21 residents of Leonberg had brought forward witchcraft accusations against Katharina. "She invited me to her house and spiked my drink. Look, I am so weak now I can barely get up from bed these days," the glassmaker's wife said. "Just a sip from her wine made me lame," the schoolmaster complained. "She asked me to dig the skull of her father from his grave," the grave master confusedly swore. "She doesn't even spare animals. The town people said they watched her touch a pig and then the pig lost its front leg." All this was serious accusation. News of her arrest reached her eldest son, Johannes, and he immediately set off on the long journey to see his widowed mother, on foot, then on boat, then horseback. What had mother done? He, Johannes, was an imperial mathematician, well-respected scholar who studied stars, and the only one in the family capable of dealing with a situation like this. His aging mother, he knew, was of restless temperament with no education. That she wasn't a witch, he was sure. Nevertheless, he told a friend, she was the author of her own misfortune. Johannes studied horoscopes. He and his mothers, though born under the same star, couldn't be any more different. He wrote a letter to the Duke, pleading for mercy. "She's no more an old woman who talks too much and disturbs her town. These accusations bring shame to my family. Your princely grace, please protect my otherwise good name against this mockery." Katharina was in prison cell for 3 weeks by the time her son arrived. She complained of being cold, lonely, bereft of all comfort. "I'd really like eggs and oat," she exclaimed. She was small, toothless, a woman of age with little physical strength, and yet her ankle was chained to the floor and a guard was stationed outside her cell. Witchcraft was not to be taken lightly. Evidence was typically thin in trials like this, but protocols were never followed. The jury was quick to authorize torture to coerce a confession. When convicted, thousands of women were burned to death. 2 had been beheaded in the town not too long ago. Katharina herself would have seen that happen. The first thing that Johannes did was to write a letter to the Duke and any relevant person of importance he knew. He insisted that the trial must follow protocol. All testimony must be written down, witnesses must be sworn in. This is 16th century that we are talking about. At least 2 credible witnesses had to be heard before torture could be authorized. Johannes decided he himself was going to represent his mother in the trial, for she, of course, was unsuitable and incapable of doing so herself. Johannes had to learn pretty early in his life how to cultivate support and how to refute his opponents. After all, against his mother's wishes, he had become a scholar instead of a pastor. And then in his study of stars, he insisted that the sun was at the center of the universe, and he figured out the path which the earth took around it. Johannes had made a place for himself despite his poor upbringing, his Lutheran faith in a Catholic society, and his radical ideas. And he did so with patient argumentation, clear communication, and, well, flattery. But now it all hung on a fine balance. He put his scholarly work on hold, and he was a dutiful son in the service of his pitiful mother. Johannes visited his mother every day, and every day he saw her deteriorating, frailing figure, wondering how long could she endure this? It's hard for me to say whether these visits gave either of them much comfort, but Johannes's systematic inquiries into each of the acquisition and Katharina's surprising composure and rationality in responding to him served them well. Katharina didn't deem the glassmaker's wife trustworthy. She often took potions from visiting quacks from small ailments. That must be the reason for her illnesses, which she misattributes to me. And I did offer wine to the schoolmaster in return for writing some letters for me, but I myself had the wine. And did the schoolmaster not work with physical labor before this job? Could that not be the cause for lasting damage for his leg? And mother, Johannes asked, why must you ask the grave digger to get our grandfather's skull? Ah, I had seen cups made of skull in the deputy bishop's house, you remember? I thought high society folks must have one, so you must have one. Katharina's sharp memory and soundness of mind gave Johannes some pause. Perhaps he had dismissed his mother too easily. She did, after all, raise capable children single-handedly amidst quarrels with their rough and immoral father. So Johannes sat down and painstakingly wrote defenses against each acquisition, picking apart testimony. So was it fall or spring when Katharina served you that faithful drink? Because the times keep changing. And which leg did the pig lose with Katharina's curse? Because some of you say it's right and some of you say it's left. Katharina herself took the stand as well. She'd been in prison suffering for several months at this point, yet she displayed no signs of exhaustion. She faced 17 witnesses, and she spoke with each of them clearly and reasoned casually. Yes, she had been annoyed at the acquisition, and yes, she had yelled in the middle of the town center saying she would make bad weather and show them what a witch can do. But they were just empty words. Had she ever done something like that? She never intended to harm her community. Katharina shed not a single tear during her trial. But guess what? That did not work in her favor. Without a single tear, how could she seem innocent? She was a witch after all. Katharina was threatened with torture. In the middle of the town, the executioner displayed his instruments, sharp nails, thick ropes, wheels. Confess, or we must make you confess the truth, he said. I do not want to confess to anything. I will not admit to anything at all, for I have done nothing wrong. Katharina was steadfast in her denial, despite the vivid descriptions of what was about to happen to her. With all eyes on her, Katharina closed her own to pray. It turns out there was insufficient evidence to order a torture. All they could do was merely threaten a torture to get a confession, which they didn't. It took 14 months to secure Katharina's release, but Johannes knew there was no proof against her, and his fight for a systematic, well-documented trial left little room for wrongful conviction. Katharina died soon after her release, but not before being lifted in the eyes of her scholar son. In her emotional resilience and commitment to truth against all odds, he saw the source of his. They were more similar than he had cared to acknowledge in the pursuit of scholarly fame. They were, after all, born under the same stars. Thank you.
Born under the same stars, of course, almost all of us. I always feel like we all come from the same alma mater. And this story is another story of perseverance. Each and every year, it was so strong, it was so visually captivating. Can we find the story online somewhere, Niharika?
Actually, the way I wrote this was by reading a lot of historical accounts of what happened during that time. There are very small snippets of the story, like maybe one line, two line snippets of that his mother was accused. Or there are big books that are 300 pages, which have a lot of context of 1600s and what was going on. But I was so fascinated that I went and read those bigger accounts, and then I kind of wrote this story myself. I haven't put it up anywhere, but this was my first time trying something like this.
Lovely listening to you. Thanks so much. Thanks a lot. Yes, next we move on to Lalitha Thilak. So we are having you again in Story Swap. Happy to have you again. So please.
It's nice to be back again. And thank you. Hi, everybody. Hi, I'm Lalitha. I'm from Chennai, same place as Ambu, Renu, all of you are here. And I am a storyteller, very passionate. I love working with children. I primarily tell stories to children, but also on and off a lot of times to adults also. I've been part of the Chennai Storytelling Festival and also Feast Story Swap. So today it's a very different story. It's a personal story, original story written by me, personal experience story. And I think a few of you here have already heard it, but for the others, here I go again. I titled the story From Fear to Courage. Okay, let me start. Amma, I know, Amma, you can do this for me. Remember, Amma, when I was in fourth standard, my tennis sir used to hug me from behind and touch me inappropriately. I did not even realize I was uncomfortable. But you, Amma, you saw what was happening and you told me what was a good touch and a bad touch. And from that day onwards, Amma, I have known what is comfortable and what is not comfortable. So today, Amma, I know what is going on is not comfortable at all. And I want you to solve this for me. When my daughters were in third standard and first standard, I put them in tennis class, which was held in a park nearby my house. And the park itself was called the tennis park. And for the next 7 years, this tennis park became our second home. Every evening, my daughters used to come back from school. They used to quickly freshen up. And all three of us used to dash to the park. And we used to have a great time because we had all our extended family there, right? The senior aunties group, the younger aunties group, my group, the children's group. And so it was very lively and a very happy space for us. But as the years went by, it was very difficult for me to accompany them every day to the park. And they used to come back and go by themselves. It was perfectly all right because everybody knew the park was a very safe space and all the people there were known people and the children were safe. Now, my elder daughter, she was in 10th grade. And one day she noticed that there was this boy sitting on the bench and staring at her. Now, you see, you get to know, right? When she finished her game and she used to go for a walk with her friends, she used to feel that there was this boy who was constantly staring at her. Now, okay, she didn't mind. She was a very cool girl. She didn't bother because she didn't want to make a big scene. So she ignored it. But yes, when she missed tennis class for 3 days and when she went on the fourth day, her friends came up to her and said, "Hey, that Thiru, he was asking about you." My daughter was very surprised. She's like, "Thiru? Who's Thiru?" "Are, your secret admirer who used to sit on the bench, who sits on the bench and looks at you every day." My daughter was very surprised, but still, again, she said, hey, leave it, don't tell all this. And her friends also left it at that. Now, both my daughters, they have this habit of coming and telling me everything. So that evening, they came and they told me, Amma, there's this boy who sits and all that, blah, blah, blah. He stares and all. And today, my friends also told me that he asked. So I too told my daughter, see, as long as he's not coming to you, he's not troubling you, he's not talking to you, just ignore him, remain in a group. For all you know, he might be one secret admirer, or innocent admirer. So just leave it. So my daughters left it at that. But as the days passed by, slowly, my daughter came up telling me one by one every day. One day she came and told me, Amma, I was having chart at the chart center and this boy was there. And the other day she told me, Amma, today he followed us till the street, Ma. He knows our street, he knows our house. And then another day she came back really shocked and she said, Amma, you know what? I was there in front of my school gate. I was about to go to the van and I saw this boy, Ma. Amma, I'm really scared, Amma. And this time I too was shocked and scared. But once again, I told her, look, you just be careful, just ignore, always be in a group and be safe. So that just ignore advice still went on. Now, my daughter was in 10th grade. She was preparing for her board exams. Her room had a balcony, and the balcony used to face the road. My daughter had a habit of studying late night. One morning, she came up to me and told me very seriously, Amma, I have to tell you this. It's been happening for quite a few nights, and I have to tell you. I said, what happened? She said, this boy, exactly between 10:30 and 10:45, he cycles on our road, Ma. One day when I was studying, I heard the cycle noise, tring, tring, the bell of the cycle. I saw outside, I was shocked, Ma. It was the same boy. And he cycles, it's very eerie to listen to the cycle noise. He cycles every night. He knows my light is on. Sometimes he stands in front of the balcony. He speaks to his friend in his mobile and says, I'm not going to leave here till I see her. Ma, I'm so scared. Just like you said, I tried to ignore. I shut the balcony door. I shut the curtains. But the cycle noise, the tring, 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 it's very eerie, Amma. And I'm very scared. I feel so suffocated, Amma. I'm not able to focus. Amma, you have to help me. Before I could say anything, she just stopped me and said, Amma, please don't say ignore. No, Amma, now I cannot ignore because I'm totally not comfortable and you have to solve this for me. Now, y'all all must be wondering, where's the father, right? So, my husband, he's very loving father, he's a very responsible father. But somewhere my daughter knew that if this matter goes to the father, it's going to take a very different turn. And he might take very extreme steps. And even I felt that I don't want this to blow up into a very major issue. And there was one more thing that was bothering her. I lived with my in-laws. I live with my in-laws. So she knew that if they get to know, the father gets to know, they'll immediately stop her from going to the park alone because, they'll become overprotective and they'll say, no going to the park, no going here alone, no doing this. And she just dreaded that. She valued her freedom. The only stress buster she had between her studies was either walking or cycling down to the park, meeting the known people, having a chit chat with the friends and coming back. And she dreaded that freedom being snatched away from her. So here she was telling me to help her. Well, do you all think I was in all get set, get mode, go? Of course not. I was totally scared. First of all, something we are doing without the people at home knowing. And second, I was really shocked because all this we used to read only in the papers and see in movies, but it was happening to my daughter. And the worst thing was all the news articles we read about these acid attacks, these knife attacks, all these jilted boys, if we confront them in a very harsh manner, how they come and take revenge and they attack the girls. So all this was running in my mind and I really didn't know what should I do. Should I go and shout at him? Shall I gather some people or shall I just give him a stern warning? But again, the acid attacks, the knife attacks, all that was running in my mind. I said, no, that's not the approach. Then I thought, and I said, okay, fine. You know what I'm going to do? I am going to sit and have a nice chat with this boy. When you're nice to a person, they'll understand, right? So I thought I'm going to sit down, I'm going to talk to him, I'm going to explain to him, I'm going to tell him my daughter's studying, please leave my daughter, blah, 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 blah. And I was so convinced that it was the right method because, I'm not harming him. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to have a chat with him. So I even told my daughter that tomorrow I'll accompany you to the park. I'm going to have a chat with this boy. I rehearsed all the lines with her, how I'm going to talk, what I'm going to tell. And she was more than happy. At least I'm taking over and doing something. So, okay, the next day, with all these lines in my head, even I was a little bit apprehensive. I've never done anything like this before, but I had to do something because my daughter said, Amma, you have to solve this for me, right? So we went to the park. Now we were walking on one direction, and my daughter, she pointed out this boy who was there with two of his friends who was on the other side of the park. Now, when I looked at the boy also looked at me, and he knew I'd accompanied my daughter that day. So what I did was I started walking towards him. Now, when he saw me walking towards him, he turned and changed direction. I noticed that, so even I turned and changed direction to again walk towards him. And this time, when he saw me, once again he turned. I just got so furious. I don't know. I was so angry. And I thought to myself, this little boy who's been stalking and scaring my daughter is actually trying to dodge me today. What the hell? I just simply ran in between the park. I ran through the badminton court. My friends were so shocked who were playing that badminton. And I caught him near the gate. I questioned him. I gave him a warning. A group of well-wishers, they too gave him a stern warning, and he simply scooted. I was completely shell-shocked. I sat on the nearby bench and was reflecting. What had I planned? And what had happened? Oh my God, was it really me? Was it really me who did that, who had so much of courage to face that and shout at that boy? A lot of well-wishers surrounded me, and they kept reassuring me that everything is fine and everything's going to be all right. But my moment of awakening came when my daughter hugged me and said, Amma, you are my hero. I awakened to the fact I really do have the courage within me to face all my fears and to face any situation. And this particular line from a commercial, it came to my mind. Dar ke aage jeet hai, which means victory always overcomes fear. Thank you.
Victory always overcomes fear. That's nice. Actually, I could. It's a typical Indian, Indian conservative house setting. I can relate to it so much. And I think like when we all our fears melt away when we stand up for our own children. So when it is for us, somehow we are scared. But when it's for our children, I think that that
Yeah,
motherly
I
instinct
know.
comes up and we tend to save them.
True.
Thanks so much for sharing that, Lalita. Lovely listening to
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Ambu. Thank you so much.
Well, so with Halloween around the corner, and now because Kapila couldn't join, I'm here to share a ghost story with you. Well, there was this little girl, Meera, who was living with her father and mother. Her father had gone on some job elsewhere. It was Diwali time, the next day was Diwali, and her mother was busy making all sweets for Diwali. Now, Meera was 7 years old and she was scared of sleeping alone. Her mother came. She said, Amma, please, I'm so scared of sleeping alone. Please sleep with me, Amma. And Amma said, Meera, nothing to be scared of. I have lots of work to do. Come on, sleep. She put her on the bed, covered her with a sheet, switched on the light, closed the door, and she went off. Now Meera was scared. Oh no, I have to sleep. I have to sleep. I have to sleep. And she heard a sound. And the fragrance of the jasmine. Oh, I have to sleep. I have to sleep. I have to sleep. And she heard the sound. Kar, 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 kar. And that was coming from the window. Meera got off the bed, went near the window and opened the window, and whom did she see? There was this lady dressed in all white with the red lips and black eyes and long nails. She looked at Meera and said, Meera, do you want to know what I will do with this red lips, black eyes, and long nails? No, I don't want to know. Amma came running. She opened the door, switched on the light, and asked, Meera, what happened, Meera? Amma, there's a ghost there, Amma, there's a ghost there, Amma, there is a ghost. Amma went, opened the window. There was no one there. And Amma said, Meera, nothing to worry. Pray to the God, nothing will happen. Sleep. She put her on the bed, covered with a blanket, switched on the light, and she went off. Now Meera tried to sleep again, closing her eyes. Oh God. And she heard. And the same sound again. Meera got off the bed, opened the window, and whom did she see? The same lady again, dressed in white with red lips, black eyes, and long nails. She looked at Meera and said, Meera, do you want to know what I will do with this black eyes, red lips, and long nails? No! Amma came, switched on the light, and asked, Meera, what happened, Meera? Amma, I will tell you, there's a ghost there, Amma, please, Amma, don't go, Amma, please don't go. And Amma said, Meera, there's nothing there. You sleep. I am not going to come again. Wait, what did Lalitha auntie say? You have to be brave, right? Take off all your fears. You're a brave girl, Meera. Be brave. She switched off the light. She went off. Now Meera tried to sleep again. Meera's a brave girl. Meera's a brave girl. Meera's a brave girl. But she couldn't sleep. Oh, again. Again. She went. She opened the window. And whom did she see? The same woman, dressed in white, red lips, long nails, and black eyes. She looked at Meera and she said, Meera, you cannot escape from me, Meera. Do you want to know what I will do? With the black eyes, red lips, and long nails. Oh, please, don't eat me. Oh, please, don't eat me. You cannot escape. You better know. Okay, Meera is a brave girl. Meera is a very brave girl. Tell me, what will you do with those long nails, red lips, and black eyes? And that's when she looked at Meera and said, I will bring these long nails near my mouth. Look at you with red, black eyes. Bring the nails near my red lips, and I will do. He went away. Meera came back with a big sigh of relief. She lay down on the bed and she slept. She was never ever afraid of ghosts ever again in her life. Well, that is a story that I heard from Donna Washington. Thanks to Donna Washington for letting me share the story with all of you. So that brings us officially to the end of today's Story Swap. So thanks so much for all the stories that were shared today. We had a very good mix and we all had a very nice time. Until we see you again, bye-bye. Thank you.